All right, good morning. My name is Jeremy Pierce, Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3. I'm here for the morning update for the line incident on September 12th. So I'm going to start off on the lower section. This lower section in the Highland community, we've got black line on that. That black line, what it means is that we have contained that fire in its footprint, and we're confident that it's going to stay right where it is. We have very limited, if any, smokes in that area. We will have crews patrolling it, but we don't have any issues in that area, and we expect it to stay right where it is. Moving our way up the 330 corridor. 330 corridor has been a major issue for us to hold. We were trying to prevent that any westward progression over there underneath the communities of Arrowhead. Any fire that gets out here, we expect to move up. That's tough to contain. That being said, this area we have line around it. We've used our helicopter support daily on that. We've flown IR flights on it for looking for any type of hotspots, and we have no hotspots on it. We have line on it, and we've used our helicopters to pick up any hotspots or anything in that area. We did have a flare up in that area, but it was well interior and it was an island. So there was some phone calls on some smokes in that area, but we flew it, we evaluated it, we determined it to be a non-factor. So this whole 330 corridor to the west side looks really good. We expect to see that island that's burning out smoke a little bit today. So for the communities to see that, we're still evaluating it and we have eyes on it, but it is not a threat for the 330 corridor. Moving a little bit farther up by the City Creek Fire Station, right up here where it says 10, drop point 10 at the break. Um, that's where we had that slop over. It's still on the other side of the 330, which is our one area where it got on the other side of 330. Crews are cutting it out, but it's super steep mid-slope road, which means it's hung up on the top of the rim or just over the rim. And because of that steepness, we're concerned about it. The crews are in there engaged on it this morning with some helicopters. We're trying to cut that out. We have about a mile line there to finish up, so it'll be probably a 2-day project in there. But we're having some good successes. Our plan on that other side of the drainage is we have that dozer line that came down on the west side of the City Creek drainage, and that dozer line has been put in there to hold that fire if it does get well established in the City Creek drainage. It's been there for 5 days now, 4 days, and it has not happened. I don't expect it to happen. We've been through a wind event, but it is our backup on that side, our contingency plan. Moving around the top into Division Hotel and Mike in what we call our Branch 10 area underneath Running Springs. We have some very large islands in there that are still producing a lot of heat. We're still having some fire in there. Crews are engaged in those islands and coming up with a plan to mitigate those islands. And they're in there today, as well as underneath all the structures, trying to mop up and validate all the line that's been put in there and connect what we call connecting the dots, meaning we'll have a continuous line all the way through that area. As we move a little farther out to the east, just under the 18, we had that fire pick up yesterday and put up a couple of spot fires out in that area, right around the Children's Trail up in that area. So crews are out there this morning. They're going to pick up all those spot fires and cut line around them and then push to the east side and try to tie it into the 18. And then once we hit the 18, we'll have dozers and crews that will be working their way south on the rim of the Bear Creek drainage, pushing right along that edge, that westward edge, down, tie it right into the fire's edge there to keep that fire from moving anywhere to the west. So the purpose here is we want to keep the fire below the 18 and we want to keep the fire from moving westward on that side. And so that line we're hoping to have put in either by the end of today or midday tomorrow. And we have crews currently working on that. Moving around the 18 corridor, we're evaluating that, putting in some contingency lines all the way to the Big Bear Dam. And then we get into our Big Bear area, and that Big Bear area looks really good. We had the fire come up that slope yesterday. It ran it. We had about 800 acres burned in that area. It hit what we call the plateau, or the very rim, where that vegetation management program has been put in by the Forest Service. We had crews up there waiting, and as it hit that rim, they attacked it with aircraft. They attacked it with bulldozers, and they're carrying the dozers to the west and then to the north and trying to tie it into the Big Bear Dam area at that 18 intersection right there. So they'll be doing that today, nursing it along that entire plateau as that fire crests that plateau. Um, Very confident in that operation due to a lot of factors. One, there's some dozer line up there. Two, the vegetation management work that's been done up there. And three, the crew's plan worked yesterday. It's going to work again today. I got high confidence in it. So moving down into where it says Division R or Romeo on that far east side, this is the piece that we're working on today. We've put most of our heavy resources in there, and it's going to be our focus with our fixed wing. We'll have some fixed wing aircraft in there this morning. We called for an early up on the aircraft, so they'll be putting some retardant in there to stop that progression for later on today. In the meantime, they're working their way down the N54 road. Clark's grade is what it's called. It's a big zigzag road coming off a plateau. They've picked the one ridge coming off the plateau, and they're going to be pushing dozers down that Clark's grade and straightening that out, and they'll use some crews in there as well because it's extremely steep and rocky. So around those areas, they'll use the crews in the steeper rocky sections and the dozers where they can. It'll punch down into the very bottom of that where it hits the Seven Ridges Road, and they'll push that then back to the west. So the idea is to wrap this one section here around and bring it back to the west, and then they're going to go direct on this fire line all the way around and down through the Santa Ana River drainage. Most of that has already been done. We still have 2 or 3 days more to work in that area as well. But once we get that punched in from the Santa Ana River drainage and bring it south, southwest, and tie it all the way back into the dam, that whole eastward progression of that fire and that southward progression in the communities of Angeles Oaks and the westward progression in Angeles Oaks and Mountain Home will be taken care of over there. We do have a big weather break for us as firefighters today. We got a little bit increased humidity in the lower sections of the fire, which is going to allow us to really get in there and go direct on that without any significant fire push from any heavy winds or low humidities that we've experienced in the past. So that is your update for September 12th for the line fire.